again and again to love, love, love. We return again to love. We return, we return, we return, return again. We return, we return, we return, return again and again to truth, truth. We return again to truth.
As we welcome you here to Temple B'nai Israel, I ask you to please rise as we prepare to welcome this new year. Here I am, so poor in deeds. I tremble in fear, overwhelmed and apprehensive, before you to whom Israel sings praises. Although unworthy, I rise to pray and seek favor with your people Israel, for they have entrusted me with this task.
Hineni he'ani mima'ars, nir hashveni fad mipachad, yoshev tehilot Yisrael. Bati lamod ulechanein lefanecha, halamcha Yisrael, asher shelachuni, hafal pi sheni chedai, v'hagun lecha. Al kein avakeshcha Elohei Avraham v'Sara, Elohei Yitzchak v'Rivka, v'Elohei Yaakov, Rachel v'Leah. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Elohei Yisrael.
God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Adonai, Adonai, merciful and gracious God, who inspires awe, I pray for you for success on my path. I pray for myself and for my community. Accept my prayer as though it were offered by one more worthy of this task. A scholar, proficient in prayer, unblemished in character, pleasing in voice. Let love be our banner, let it banish our wrongs. May Israel's strife and misfortunes be turned into joy, renewed life, and peace. Love, peace, and truth, may they prevail among us, and may there be no impediment to my prayer. Adonai, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, great, mighty, and awesome, inspiring God Most High, who said to Moses, I will be what I will be. May it be your will that my prayer reach your presence, for the sake of the righteous and the blameless, the honest and the pure of heart, for the sake of your glory.
כי אתה שומע תפילה עמך ישראל ברחמים. ברוך אתה שומע תפילה.
You may be seated. So I stand before you, and I realize how different it is. This time last year, I was in Vero Beach at Temple Beth Shalom and had no idea that a year later I would be standing in this place. I'm joined by Jenny Hickman. She is our cantorial soloist. And last year she was in Worcester, and if you heard the incredible tree of tradition that brings her here to us, and it is wonderful that her mom, Rabbi Pat Hickman, who was my colleague over on the East Coast, was part of that connection, that she gets to be here to enjoy getting to hear her daughter sing. And so here is Jenny able to join us here in this place. It is wonderful to be here at Temple B'nai Israel. It is wonderful to start this new year of 5,785 with this congregation and community. Some of you have never been here before, and so having a new rabbi is a all part of the new experience. And some of you have been here for decades. I've already seen 100-year-old Machzor, where the words might be slightly different than you'll see tonight. How awesome it is when we open that ark that you literally have a chain of tradition passed door by door of generation to generation. How awesome it is. Jill and I got married 30 minutes that way, that we get this opportunity to return to a place that was my home, to be able to be here with this congregation and community. It is wonderful to be here. But we are also here starting 5,785, and Israel is in a state of strife, and last week there was a hurricane. Before that hurricane struck, I said, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. May God spread a shelter of peace over us. And for all of my prayers, there are people that are here with us tonight who had their homes destroyed, who saw cars lost, who have had their lives turned upside down. And I offer my sincere blessing and appreciation that even with all of that, you have come to bring your ruach and koach, spirit and strength, to our congregation. My prayer was simple. It was Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. May God spread a shelter of peace over the people of Israel. The word sukkah is a bit problematic, but it also tells the issue. How is a sukkah designed? Sukkah has open sides, and we certainly felt that vulnerability as water rushed into way too many places last week. But in the wake of the attack during September 11th, Arthur Waskow said something very, very interesting. He said, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha is the point. That it is a reminder of our fragility, it is a reminder of our vulnerability. It's only a sukkah, the walls are open. And he said that's also part of its strength. Because here we are finding ourselves this week after a storm, not even a week after a storm. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, it's not all about God spreading some kind of protective power over us. It doesn't work that way. But what can we do, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha? How do we, responding to God, bring a shelter of peace to each other and our world? The beauty of a sukkah is the sides are open, which means we can reach out to each other. That we can see when our neighbors are in need of that love and care. That we can see how we can help and support each other. And so as we welcome this new year, it is my hope that you will hear it and take it to heart. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, that here we are welcoming this new year, and how do we, as a congregation and community, in the face of what is in the midst of our world, spread that sukkah of shalom over ourselves, over our families, over our congregation and wider community, over our world. And so I welcome you here to enjoy this day of goodness and this day of blessing. And I call forward on this first night of 5,785, I call forward my wife, Jill Bernholtz, to light our Shabbat, to light our Rosh Hashanah candles. That might happen a lot. You never know.
All the stars are hidden, and the moon is dark tonight. In the wide expanse of heaven, north to south, not a ray of light. Light a bright candle in my heart's shadowed tent, and through the wide expanse of heaven, the light will shine. Where there is sadness, let us offer love. Where there is fear, let us reach for hope. On this eve of the new year, may we bring light to one another.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
As you can see, we have our screens that are projecting our service for you. You also have your Machzorim. Not all of the readings that will be in our service tonight are in the Machzorim. And the challenge of Mishkan HaNefesh is it jumps around a little bit. And so we will be skipping pages, and I will be giving you some page numbers. There will also be page numbers on the screen that you will see. And I will also let you know when we are reading a projection from a reading that is projected on our screen. If you see something that is in yellow, that's where the congregation will have an opportunity to respond. On page 15. At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast days sound the shofar, for it is the law of Israel and the way of the God of Jacob. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai, who hear with love the shofar, the true voice of your people Israel. And so we welcome this new year with this first call of the shofar.
Tkiah.
Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Yehi Ratzon, Shenizkeh levirchotecha, Bishnat Chamesh Alafim Sheva Ma'ot Shmonim v'Chamesh. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in this year 5,785. Eternal One, bless us and this whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our hearts be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for this gift of life. And so we are on page 20 as we rise to the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Bless the eternal, the blessed one. Blessed is the eternal, the blessed one, now and forever. As we are seated, we are on page 22. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk. As your wisdom opens the gates of night, your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive and all that is beyond our perception. Living, eternal God, be our sovereign to end of time. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God from all we can perceive, all that is beyond our perception. Living, eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk. And together on page 24, love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. We are the very essence of our lives, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. For you are blessed and the one who loves your people, Yisrael. From page 26.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Listen, Israel. Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובפומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
And from page 33, we read responsively, to break down the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect.
To break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts.
To break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with the fullness of being.
To break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, to break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help.
Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation at the dawning of the year from page 34.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא דהילות עושה פלא, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה יענו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
And from our projection, we offer these words for a good night's sleep.
Let there be light. and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkireinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkireinu, Leshalom, Vehamidenu, Shomreinu Lechaim, Ufros Aleinu, Sukat Shlomecha, Hashireinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashireinu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
From page 36. Baruch atah Adonai, hapares sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Bless the one you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. As we are on 36 and we're turning to page 40, I do invite you to please rise as we finish the Shema and her blessings, and we prepare for the Tefillah, the central prayers of our worship on this first eve of this new year.
Yitkara v'yitkada shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Elma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
Becha
Mechayechon uvyomechon uvchai decho Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam kulam me'amaya.
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha brichu le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru amen.
As we are on page 42 for the Tefillah, just remember that as we offer these words that are familiar, we say them 3 times a day. We say them on Shabbat. This is our days of awe, these days, Yamim Noraim. And so there are some changes in the text to reflect the holiness, the awesomeness of this day.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava. Zocher
46.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר צאצאיו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכול. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכול. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה.
We are on page 49, and we read together from, it's probably not on 49, it's on our projection, and we read together. We create your holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know, when we are kind to someone who cannot possibly be of service to us, when we bring love into our homes and our communities, when we generate your holiness, when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in, when we remember the lonely and bring cheer into a dark corner, when we share our bread, our ideas, and our enthusiasm. In these days of awe, this time of reflection and perspective, we reach towards the source of strength. With the primacy of power that transcends us, we yearn for the connection with all that lives, moving in rhythm of creation with the wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your world. Through our senses of you in this world, we connect and draw strength for what is eternal and infinite. From page 52. Kadosh atah v'norah shemcha. You are holy. Your name is awesome. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, holy, sovereign. And from page 54, together, our God and God of generations before us, may the memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance. From 55.
Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova.
Eternal our God, remember us. Amen.
Ufogdeinu vo livracha.
Be mindful of us.
Amen. V'hoshienu vo l'chaim.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. From 58. Our praise to you, Eternal One, whose power pervades all the earth. You bring holiness to the people Israel and to this day of remembrance. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. And from page 6, or excuse me, I apologize. I will get used to this. We read together from our projection. Accept our acts of prayer with grace and mercy. Receive the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts with love and compassion. May our thoughts and prayers be transformed into mindful, heartfelt action, catalyzing your blessing to us and to repair of the world. May we seek to serve as partners in the truest sense, giving of ourselves in order to expand the energy we receive into a wholeness that is far greater than the sum of its parts.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Me'amecha Yisrael, U'tefilatam be'ahava tikabel. Tamid avodat Israel. Israel Amecha.
Blessed are you whose divine presence is felt again in Zion. And from page 62, God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your saving power endures from age to age. Together, we thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness, morning, noon, and night. We call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. And for all these gifts, God of mercy, may your name come to be blessed and praised. Our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness. And may all life resound with your gratitude and faith and praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us on 64. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ucha na'eh lehodot. As we are seated, we take a few moments for silent prayer on this Shabbat. Take a few moments for silent prayer on this Rosh Hashanah, on this first day of this new year in this place. You can offer these words that are projected to you, or simply offer the words of your heart.
אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה, ברכה ושלום, נזכר וניגטיב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום.
Good Yontif. I am certainly not new to this rabbi stuff. We're now coming up on almost 30 years that I've been going out to lead congregations from Houghton, Hancock, Michigan. Do I have anyone from the Upper Peninsula here? No Upper Peninsula folks here. No Upers. Do I have any Lower Peninsula people? At least one. Okay. Got a few back there. To Marion, Ohio. Anyone from the Columbus area? To Columbus, Mississippi. And then on to Vero Beach, where I've stood before that congregation and community. I got there when I was 28 years old. I really did look like the bar mitzvah boy. And Jill and I had just one of our children and another child on the way, and we really grew up there. And here, our children have now left the nest, and they're off onto their lives. And this opportunity came to be close to our parents, to be able to be with them, to have them take care of us and us take care of them, and how incredible it is to be in this place. and yet it's also really, really strange. They all knew my stories in Vero Beach, which was a good thing and a bad thing. Because you're also probably thinking, hey, Rabbi, you have 22 years of sermons that you could call on. But there's a problem. It's called YouTube. All of you could simply go on YouTube and watch all of my sermons from the past year. I highly recommend the Rosh Hashanah morning one last year, when I might have done the Akedah as a sock puppet show. So I can't just rely on what I spoke about in the past and say, here is it is for a new congregation. And we'll also tell you, and that's what's remarkable, and here I am standing in a new place, in a new way, with new stories to tell, and yet tonight, as I share these stories with you, it is also on so many levels the same story. In fact, tonight I share with you kind of a chicken and an egg. And I say that because, of course, the question is, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because I have these incredible stories. Both of them are storytelling moments from the Moth podcast, the Moth radio show. Do I have any of you that have listened to Moth Stories? MOTH. It's an incredible program. If you have never heard of it before, the simple way to explain it is it's a radio program that is basically audio Reader's Digest. Some of you got that reference. Come on. None of you read Reader's Digest growing up? The number of years before I realized that it wasn't Reader's Digest, and that's why it was in the bathroom. Hoy, rabbis' families, that's all I can tell you. So on this Moth Radio, so I have these two stories that I want to share with you from the Moth Radio Hour. But then there's also this incredible challenge that I see in our world that I also feel called to respond to. There's something challenging in our world that I was searching for a value and a way to respond to it. So I had these two stories I knew I wanted to share, and the very situation I knew I needed to face. So I'm going to start first with the stories. One was told by T. Dixon. May her memory be a blessing. She was a trauma surgeon in a hospital in Georgia. And she tells the story of being in her hospital one night and getting a 16-year-old who had come in after a horrific car accident. It was this young child, it was her 16th birthday. She was on her way she wanted to go drive herself to McDonald's. She took a curve a little too fast. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt, and she was grievously injured. And T. Dixon relates all of the incredible injuries that could have killed her. She said it was really touch and go as she tells her story. And in fact, as she's talking about all of these injuries, she says, look, this was a Jane Doe. All I knew is I had this teenager, her body was broken inside and out, and I'm trying to help her. So eventually she's able to get away from the patient. She's able to go and visit with the parents. And she talks about how she was trying to balance that sense of this situation is scary and bleak, and we are here for you, but we also don't want to squash your hope for your daughter. And their parents are there, and they're crying, of course, because they're so scared, and she stands up to leave. This is a very Jewish moment, because they all stop crying. And she turns around, and they're all laughing. And again, it's a Jewish moment. When we're tempted to cry, we laugh, and when we're tempted to laugh, we cry. What could they possibly be laughing about, she thinks. And she turns around and says, what? They said, well, we now know she's in good hands. She's like, what are you talking about? Savannah's in good hands. And T. Dixon, our doctor, realizes what they've seen. She is wearing her scrubs from the University of Savannah. Savannah, their daughter's name, is written on her tushy. And she says, if that's what it needed for a little bit of, she said, and she did not use the word tushy, but I'm going to clean it up here. She said, that was an incredible bit of encouragement. If my tushy inspires let it be. She tells the story as she goes on that it was touch and go for a number of hours and days and weeks. They were constantly working to keep Savannah alive, and there were chest tubes and trach tubes and IVs and all of these really incredible, painful procedures that this young person had gone through. And every time as she was doing one of these things, now that she really knew her name, she would warn her and say, Savannah, I know this is going to hurt, but I'm here for you. We're taking care of you. You're going to make it through. And, you know, in this world that she lived in, this doctor, she would work with these patients, and sometimes it would be hours and days, and she was with her for a number of months. But over time, she changed rotations, and the patients leave the trauma center, and she lost track of her. And so there is, a year later, Dr. Dixon is walking through the hospital, and she's just walking, and she says, hey, it's you. So she stops, of course, as you do, and this 16-year-old teenager throws her arms around her and gives her this giant hug. And she says, okay, hi, and you are? She says, and she goes and she pulls her shirt down to show her trach tube, or her trach scar, and she says, it's me, Savannah. And T. Dixon, of course, who didn't know what had happened to this young lady, she had been worried about head injury and permanent impairment, and here's this vivacious and vibrant teenager standing in front of her. This is an awesome moment, until she realizes something that's key. This kid was unconscious the entire time she worked with her. How would an unconscious patient know her doctor? She looks at her and says, how do you know who I am? And she says, I recognized your voice. You were the one that always called me Savannah. I just remember your voice saying, Savannah, I'm here. I'm taking care of you. I know this isn't easy, but I'm with you. As soon as I was walking down that hallway, I heard your voice, and I had to come and give you a hug and tell you thank you. T. Dixon closes that story. She says she felt heard and remembered, and she said, realized in that moment, she herself was struggling incredibly. If you go look up her story, it's rather fantastic. She said, that moment reminded me that treating people like human beings matters. It does make a difference. Just that simple way of calling out to someone by name, calling out to them with love and care. The second story that I share with you is from Onesha Roy Shudhuri. And she tells the story, and I think I found this story even long before I knew we would have a cantorial soloist from New York. Some of you have been to New York, and you know the experience of being on a subway, right? Raise your hand if you've been on a subway, right? She says, it was cold, it was November, and I was still sweating. Because it was a crowded subway in the evening, it was rush hour, and she had an armful of groceries. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? You can picture this. And so she gets on with her big bags, and she finds a great spot to settle next to a pole. And then onto the subway steps a guy with a Bible in hand. And he decides that he has something to say. And he starts preaching on the subway car, Bible in hand. And she calls it this incredible, hateful monologue. He was telling you that depending on who you love, that you're going to hell. And depending where you go from, you're going to hell. He went on and on. Race and religion and sexuality and everything he could think of to get in people's face and scream at them. And it was awful. She said she did not know what to do. Even one person also in that subway car said, come on, knock it off, man. But it's New York, and people do those things. I hope that wasn't offensive to New York.
No, it's just facts.
It tracks. And she remembered these moments in her life, Onesha did, that she was so paralyzed to speak, that she did not know how to respond, and she had just let these moments go, and something caught her in that moment, and she said, if you don't stop, I'm going to start singing. And she's like, uh-oh. And he just kept going. And she's like, I just said it. Okay, so she's like, I can do this. And she starts singing. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And the guy looks at her, and he just like, come on, really? And he just goes, and she keeps going. She's like, I'm committed. I'll keep going. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And at this moment, she catches the eye of a kid in a stroller, right? It's New York. You're not supposed to make eye contact. But this one calls for it. And he, what does he do? Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. If the kid is singing, who else is going to start singing? The parents. Row, row, row your boat. And they just kept going. And then the guy in the Beats headphones down, he starts singing. And then one person, and the guy, of course, is now revved up. He's louder and louder, but the louder he got, each time a different person sang. The guy was trying to argue he couldn't get them to stop, right? They just kept going. And by the way, it got to rounds, right? Complex harmonies. He finally just gave up and got off the train. And you know what they did? They kept singing with this big smile. She was in that moment afraid she was alone, but how incredible that she was backed up by strangers. They are the most magnificent, incredible stories. In one, T. Dixon moved through this world, and she offers light and love in a tone of her voice that led to strength and healing. And in the second, in the face of anger and aggression, Onesha, she used her voice to inspire others to join into a harmony that is more than the sum of its parts. On that level, just reminding you, and I will be honest with you, very few of my sermons are really to you all. Most of them are to me. Even if I just remember the power of someone's name and finding that way to talk with chen, chesed, and rachamim, grace and kindness and compassion, even if I find those moments of chutzpah to start singing how powerful this new year would be. But I also stand before you and I say, Al chet shechatanu lifanecha. Forgive me, for I have sinned. Why? Just a few weeks ago, I found myself out in a store here in Clearwater where people are incredibly nice. And I was just checking out. I was running a quick errand. And the woman who was checking me out looked at me and said, why are all black women angry? She looked at me and she said, why are all black women angry? And I did not know how to respond. What do? I was ready. By the way, I have quite the sharp sense of humor. And I had all sorts of retorts. But then I'm like, wait, do I say something to demean her or diminish her or make her feel bad? What do I do here? Because I don't want to compound. She is saying something racist and sexist and awful. I was flabbergasted. I wasn't sure what to say in that moment because the last thing I want to do is to add to her violence and the racism and sexism. I came up with all of these rebukes and these put-downs, but none of them were going to stop her. I didn't want to add to her act of Lashon Hara, of that wicked and evil speech that brings hatred into our world. There I was in that moment. I went home. Jill and I had a long, incredible conversation about it. And even as we were talking, I got a call from one of my congregants in Vero, because he has been watching from our political debates and evening news and watching statements by political leaders and media personalities using all kinds of xenophobic and hateful rhetoric and language. And he's like, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. And I listened to, we were talking, and I realized when we talk about this xenophobia and hatred, have any of you read the book of Exodus? How old is that? It's old. It's thousands of years old. And there are people in our day and age, listen to the words of Exodus. A new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to the people, look, this Israelite people is too much for us. Let us deal shrewdly with them. Let's go after them, because we're worried that there's too many of them. And if we have a war with our neighbors, they might join our enemies and fight against us, and then we'll have a problem. So let's take care of them now, and let us set taskmasters over them to impress them with hard labor. Those are words thousands of years old, and we have certainly heard them since. How many times have we heard people looking for power and influence and power and influence declare that we say these things? How many times have we heard people use that language of xenophobia and hatred? All our problems are because of those people. They're outsiders, they're strangers. If we don't control them and get rid of them, the fabric of our life is destroyed. It's just like Pharaoh in Egypt, and yet it's repeated. It's lashon hara. When we hear this thing, it's not what we would say is gossip, but it's that bearing of false witness, of finding ways with xenophobia and hatred to go after those who are vulnerable and struggling in our world. What does our tradition say? Take care of the widow and the stranger and the orphan, because you were the strangers in the land of Egypt. And yet we keep hearing that kind of lashon hara. It's in the media, it's politics, but it's also these microaggressions. I heard it in a store. And from the drop of anti-Semitic flyers in Vero, and I think it happened here, I know it happened all over the country, to that moment in that checkout line, to watching these news stories year after day, whether it's these little microaggressions or the reports I hear, I have thought with myself, how do we respond with grace, with assertiveness, with care, with effectiveness? How do we respond? How do we react? We don't want to react from our Yetzer Hara, but from our Yetzer HaTov, not from our evil inclination, but from our good inclination, in a way that undermines that hatred, that aggression, that divisiveness, and uplifts our spirits and those around us. And so I keep coming back to those two really incredible stories of T and Onesha. Can I speak with so much kindness that it touches a place beyond consciousness? Can I sing in a way, and I assure you, my singing voice has gotten better over the years, but can I sing in a way that invites other people to join in, drowning out those who would scare and diminish? Now, especially as we are entering these days of awe, think about the experiences of sound that we are going to experience. Can we hear the voice of the shofar? That call that we hear is that wake-up call beyond consciousness to wake us up. What are we doing? Think in just a few moments, we're going to hear the words of Avinu Malkeinu. And I want you to listen. I remember this from growing up in Jackson, Mississippi. There's that sound, that voice of all of those people singing together. It's up there. It's a voice that's more than the sum of its parts. It's our voices creating something that is quite literally high and holy. I am not perfect. These days of awe force me to see when I haven't taken on the challenges and brokennesses of our world. But on this Rosh Hashanah, I'm inspired, and I hope you are empowered to find ways to talk and to sing, to make ourselves and those who cross our paths our wider world a place that we fill with shalom, harmony, wholeness, connection, fulfilled and peaceful. As I say, amen.
מפרוס לבן באופק מול ענן שחר כבד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. ואם בחלונות הערב או נרות החג רועד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי, כל שנבקש לו יהי. What is the sound that I hear? The shofar and the sound of drums. All that we ask for, may it be. If only there can be heard one prayer from my lips. All that we seek, may it be. May it be, may it be, Alleluia. All that we seek, may it be. May it be, may it be, Alleluia. כל שנבקש לו יהי.
As we are here on this first night of this new year, we stop to offer prayers of healing to all who face illness and challenge and danger in our day and age. With so much of our congregation gathered tonight, we can't verbally acknowledge everyone who is in need of healing and comfort. So I ask you to take just a moment to think of those who need your prayer and send your healing energy out to them. And so we join with Cantor Jenny as we offer these words of healing.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And so on page 75, I welcome up the Morgan family to come and join us here on the bima. They were instrumental in helping us to settle here, to bring us here and settle in this place. And so I ask the congregation to please rise.
Malkeinu. Though we've overthrown kings and we disobey fathers, we have no great liking for absolute power. Akiva stood before you in a time of drought,
and his
words went up like a flame on the altar. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our ruler. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion for us. He was humble and forgiving, so his prayer was answered. Tonight we speak again in a time of drought. Dry ground beneath us, no water, only rock.
Not a hunger for bread
Or a thirst for water, our hearts that are longing to hear God's voice. For the sea of faith is all but gone. The tide's gone out on an empty beach. The word mocks our hopes, and life tests our courage. Why do the wicked live on and prosper? Why are you silent when they prey on the innocent? And if the dominion in kindness and justice, why is creation in so much pain? Avinu Malkeinu, sustain our souls. Send rain to our roots. Help us find a way to pray. Make us humble and forgiving, ourselves and one another. Avinu Malkeinu, renew these words. Help us speak them with conviction and believe their truth. 100 generations have stood before the ark, and they lifted up their voices like flame on the altar, and they put their trust in kindness and justice
and they gave their strength
to make the promise real. Avinu Malkeinu, we have not forgotten. Avinu Malkeinu, bring us back to you.
And as the Morgans take a step back, we offer these words. And we read responsively. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you are our sovereign.
Show us mercy.
Avinu Malkeinu, act towards us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us.
Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Amol aleinu, Ve'olol aleinu, V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale deber, Ve'cherev ve'rav, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale kotzar, Umastin, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chodveinu, Besefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodesh Aleinu, Kodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Konenu Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Aleinu, Ki Ein Banu Masim, Aseh Imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Aseh Imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, ve'oshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Aleinu, Ki Ein Banu Masim.
This is one of the moments of learning a new bima and trying to remember where everything is. And I mean, here's the irony of this, because our honor for the Aleinu is all of the people who have joined our congregation in the past year. And as I said, that's going to be our honor. One of the things I didn't even think about, who's included in that honor? I am. And Jill is. So I don't know how that all worked out. But all of us who have joined Temple B'nai Israel in this past year, we invite you to come forward to the bima in this moment of blessing as we begin the conclusion of our service on page 82. So if you have joined in the past year, please come join Jill and I and Cantor Jenny. Stuart and Erica, I'm going to have you guys go up and open the ark, and Ruth, and Adrian. So the Bilskis on one side and Ruth. There are handles. So I guess if it's the...
Oh, there it goes.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adamat, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu echol ha'onam. Achnu koreim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
And to Ruth and Adrian, Erica and Stu, we're all learning this bima together in this moment. And hopefully you have your reading glasses on. And you're going to come huddle next to me.
Okay.
It's a congregation full of love. And at the top we read,
May the time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your dominion be established on the earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא,
ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And you can close the arm. And you have to kind of synchronize it. You got it. Yasher Koach. And welcome, Temple B'nai Israel. These words that are projected for you, I wrote after the Surfside disaster. It's incredible to me how it changes and doesn't change, and I've continued to use it. We pause to honor and remember. From wildfires to floods, wars to pandemics, and this year so many wars and so many have lost their lives in a storm that touched our very city, our very home. There are many who have died, leaving families and communities broken. So we pause to offer silence as an act of presence in the face of these unexpected traumas in our lives. So we take a moment of silence, that we honor those who died in Helene. We honor and remember those who have died in the service of Israel, in that place in the wars of the Middle East. We take just a moment for our own families on this first night of this new year. We take a moment of silence. This is silence of memory. On this first night of this new year, while it is not a formal period of Yizkor, it is certainly a time we feel the memory of our loved ones present around us. And we stop to remember, each in our own way, honoring how those who have died have shaped who we have become. Our thoughts turn to our loved ones, whom death has taken from us in recent days, those who have died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in this community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronan livracha, may their memories be a blessing in this new year and always. On 292, we offer these words of praise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'yalma divrach yerutev yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'zman kariv v'yimru. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'yimru. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Hosei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are saying goodbye to someone they love, as we say amen. As we are seated, and on page 98, we have these incredible words to close out our service. Our God and God of all generations, before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us, and we'll read these words responsively, a year of abundance and atonement, a year of community and compassion,
A year of delight and exaltation.
a year of enlightenment,
A year of friendship and forgiveness.
a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel,
A year of health and healing and humor.
a year of inner strength and well-being,
A year of joy and Jewish celebration.
a year of knowledge and learning for its own sake,
A year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters.
A year of mitzvot and the moments of sweetness.
A year of nature, protected and enjoyed.
A year of optimism and hope.
A year of peace, pursued with perseverance.
A year of quiet and tranquility.
A year of rain in its season.
A year of song and spiritual growth.
A year of Torah study and tikkun olam.
A year of understanding and unity.
A year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome.
A year of wisdom acquired and shared.
A year of coexistence among the families of the earth.
A year of young and old reaching out to one another.
A year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world.
Our God and God of all generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound blessings for your gift of life. As we say amen, and we join with Cantor Jenny in these words of blessing.
Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, tikatevu v'techatevu. Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, a good year, a year of peace we wish to you.
And as we close our worship, I invite the president of our congregation, Stephanie Van Zandt, to share some announcements with us. And I give a heads up to the Longstreet Petracco Group clan family to be prepared to come up for Kiddush and for Motzi.
Lashana Tova. Well, we had a great start. We want to welcome Jenny Hickman, and her mother is here as well. So we welcome you to our sanctuary on the beginning of the high holidays. We certainly enjoyed your magical voice. Good choice by Rabbi. And we thank Maria for coming back with her sparkly fingers to help accompany us. And of course, Rabbi, as always, for your stories and for the next 20 years or more of stories here at TBI. So we have a lot going on. First, I want to thank the challah bakers. I'm sure Rabbi was in there somewhere, but Margaret Morgan and Kara Tanner. I also want to thank Rose, who's back there manning the monitor back there. I want to thank the staff, Barbara Bachman, who's not part of the staff, but heading up our religious rituals, who helped organize this holiday. I want to thank Barbara. I want to thank Sandy and Pete and Al and Stephen. And who am I forgetting?
Sonia.
And Sonia.
And Jill.
Of course, Jill. And who? Yeah, well, I said Barbara. I'm looking right at her. And Barbara for doing all this hard work. But there are other people who also did hard work. Amy was out and convinced Al to help her get rid of the old juniper out front. Yes. We have other, I can't see Renee. Paula, who spent tireless hours yesterday, I know, working to getting the front ready. She was hedging, she was trimming, she was potting. I'm sure she has blisters on her hands to show everybody her hard work. I know that the Morgan family helped donate our beautiful orchids out front, and Wendy also donated our beautiful plants up front for our bima and to decorate our lobby. Of course, I would be remiss to not congratulate our ushers for making it through and making it easy for everybody to come into shul this evening. We would also like our staff, who's gone above and beyond. So on to the different events. Saturday, October 5th, 6:30, we have Tashlik and Havdalah at Coachman Park. Bring a beach chair or a blanket to sit on, and feel free to come early and enjoy the park with your families. And we do request an RSVP. Sunday, October 6th, High Holidays for Young Family Service. Join Rabbi Bernholtz and the religious school director Jill Bernholtz as we celebrate the High Holidays with family-friendly prayers and activities. On Sunday, October 6th, we have Kavera vote services that will take place at 1 o'clock at Sylvan Abbey Memorial Park, and then at 2:30 at Curlew Hills Memorial Gardens. October 7th, enough said about October 7th, but I want you to understand that we're going to be meeting at Largo Central Park at the Performing Arts Center 7 to 9 for, community strength for October 7th. And then Sharon Finkelstein wanted me to announce that we have our Jewish Food Festival. She wants that we want to be excited. We need a lot of volunteers because we're bringing it back in person to our temple coming in February. I know it seems very far away, but there's a lot of organizing and we're asking for your help. And that there's a lot to be done, and that the majority of, that the Food Fest is February 23rd, but that week before we're going to be working hard. So any assistance, please get a hold, any assistance that you can provide, please get a hold of Sharon Finkelstein. That's it, Rabbi. Thank you very much, and Lashana Tova.
What was that? There's going to be a gala on November 2nd to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Temple B'nai Israel, and everybody should RSVP and everybody should come? Was that what I heard? There's going to be a gala on November 2nd to celebrate 75 years of Temple B'nai Israel.
Nice.
And as I mentioned before, how wonderful it is that we can invite one of our next bat mitzvah student, our next candidate for bat mitzvah and her family. So we invite Kylie Longstreet to come forward with her mom, Jerry, as we close our worship with an act of sweetness and one more announcement.
My name is Kylie Longstreet. I will become a bat mitzvah in a few months. As I study to lead services, I also step forward to bring our Jewish values to life. For many years, Temple B'nai Israel has done a food drive for the holidays. This year, that need is greater. As you depart from service, please take a collection bag. Over these next few weeks of holidays, return it filled with non-perishable food items that we can give our local Jewish Family Services food pantry. This is just the beginning. You can certainly give more than one bag. This page also has the link to the JFSCS website, so you can give cash donations directly. We end our first service of the new year with Kiddush. We thank God for this holy and sweet time. We respond by acting in ways to bring our light and love to lift those around us.
And as we announce our food drive, and a big thank you to Kylie for stepping forward to do that, we also did get word later, over the course of today, of the ways that the Federation and the Jewish Family Service are reaching out to support those who have had significant damage from Hurricane Helene. So we will send that information out probably later in the week and try to get it into as many people's hands as possible, because those resources are now starting to come online in our community. And so Jerry, Kylie, I invite you to lift one of these glasses of Kiddush, and we join with Cantor Jenny, and we offer these words of sweetness.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol am, v'romemanu mikol lashon, v'kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav. V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, et yom hazikaron hazeh, yom teruah, mikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, u'devarcha emet, v'kayam la'ad. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol ha'aretz, mikadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol ha'aretz, mikadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol ha'aretz, mikadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol ha'aretz, Mikadesh Yisrael, Melech al kol haaretz, Mikadesh Yisrael, ve'yom hazikaron. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'ehyanu ve'kiyemanu ve'hiyanu lazman hazeh.
Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim.
Taking one for the team.
Pomegranate puckers still have. But they also just did make a slight strategic error. Their garbage route. You missed out on a column. But don't worry, there is some here. We are going to carry it out. And notice I'm placing the cover here and not near the fire. And Cantor and Jenny and I will walk towards the door that we invite you to come and to greet you and greet each other as we part of this play service. We will start tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we hope you join us tomorrow as we continue our celebration of this day of Rosh Hashanah.
Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, a good year, a year of peace, we wish to you. Haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices